This is Inside the Hudson City School District, a weekly video magazine about the many learning activities, the quality programs, the commitment to the idea of excellence in education. This is Inside the Hudson City School District.
Welcome to a special edition of Inside the Hudson City School District. This is the Hudson High School Graduation. Commencement exercises for the class of 1989. Brought to you by the Hudson Teachers Association. You and the Hudson Teachers Association, partners in education. The 106th annual commencement of Hudson High School will be taking place inside the Hudson High School auditorium. Parents of the graduates, their families and friends have filled this spacious auditorium to see the close to 140 graduates receive their diplomas from the stage. The Pledge of Allegiance will be delivered by Hudson High School Class President Jennifer Westfall. The invocation will be delivered by Reverend Matthew Medford of the First Presbyterian Church in Hudson. The commencement speaker is the Honorable John J. Fazo, Assemblyman who represents the graduates from the 102nd District. This afternoon's special broadcast is being brought to you by the Hudson Teachers Association.
Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, Star-Spangled Banner, and invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you join with me in prayer? Let us bow our heads. Almighty God, we thank you that you have brought us here together to celebrate a very special time. For truly this day we give you great thanks for how you have been with us. We thank you for the supports of families. We thank you for these men and women who have done so much. We thank you for them, and we ask now that you be upon us and give your blessings to us. Lord, this we pray in your name. Amen. Brothers and sisters, please be seated.
Good afternoon, everyone. Before I start, I'd first like to congratulate the entire class of 1989, which I'm proud to be a member of. Over the last few weeks, I really had a lot of trouble deciding what I was going to speak about today. But those of you who know me shouldn't be surprised when you hear what I've decided to say. From talking with me, some may notice that I have a tendency to quote famous or important people. And over the past few years, some of those quotes have stuck in my mind and have had great meaning to me. We have all heard short-sighted people attribute a quotation to Vince Lombardi. Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. However, there's another, less cited, but much better Lombardi remark about the loyalties he expected from his players. That quotation is, to God, to their families, and to the Green Bay Packers, in that order. Some things, like the first two, are much more important than others, not only in ordering loyalties, but also in shaping lifetime values. And if by the Green Bay Packers, Coach Lombardi meant absolute honesty, hard work, and professionalism, then these two also shape the special qualities of young people preparing for life. Another quote that has had great effects on me over the past 4 years is one by Thomas Paine. The harder the struggle, the more glorious the triumph. This can apply to all aspects of life, but none more so than schoolwork and athletics. In the classroom, it means never giving up, regardless of boring subject matter, a failing mark, or even a less than friendly relationship with an instructor. It also means to get involved, join clubs, and to use your abilities. Once you have done these things and completed the school year, you know you have accomplished something worthwhile. There's so much I can say about athletics. The enjoyment of physical activity, the camaraderie of teammates and bantering of opponents, the tests of competition, and the lessons in mental discipline and fortitude. But where Thomas Paine's quote enters is in the losses. The clearest message athletic delivers is in the losses. They are more powerful than all of the wins. Self-esteem and team morale grow, as well as a desire to work and struggle to succeed. In losing, as well as in winning, there's winning. The last quote I'll talk about today is one I remember vividly. Several months ago, I visited my brother, Lee, at Georgetown University. We went to a mass, and a man rose to give a reading. Much to my amazement, the speaker had a very noticeable speech impediment, stuttering. The man finished the reading. The priest then rose and spoke. What he said is a thought I'd like to leave you with today. He said, "It is a very lonely life without encouragement," meaning, of course, that no one can go it alone. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.
Assemblyman Fazo, Mr. Merritt, Mr. Howard, members of the Board of Education, the administration and faculty, parents and friends, my fellow classmates. I am proud to be here today representing the class of 1989. When I learned that I would be speaking at graduation, I presumed it would be easy to choose a topic for my speech. I contemplated for many hours over a simple message and realized the choice wasn't as easy as I originally thought. Choices play an enormous role in our lives. As children, we found our parents making the choices and the decisions for us. They told us what to do, making sure we were led in the right direction. They must have been doing something right, because no one will dispute this day marks the high point of success and achievement in our lives. Their guidance and support have enabled us to become who we are today. We are thankful for our parents and the good choices they have made throughout our lives. However, the time has come when we must face the task of making choices for ourselves. George Eliot, a great English novelist, once said, "The strongest principle of growth lies in human choice." Our growth will be based on the quality of our ability to make good choices. Until now, our lives have been secure within the boundaries of our home, our school, our city. We are about to expand those boundaries, build our own homes, reach new heights in education, and travel countless miles in search of our destiny. To embark on the unknown is the greatest challenge of all. It is overcoming fear and doubt. It is sharing the experience of our immigrant forefathers. It is conquering a small part of this great land and claiming it as our own. The minute choices we have had to make in the past pale in the light of monumental decisions that lie ahead. Our journey will begin, as all journeys, with the tiniest of steps. As we take that next step, let us be mindful of the strong background of faith and support from our parents, teachers, and one another, so that no matter which direction that first step takes us, it will lead to a successful and happy life. When we find our choices along the path of life have not always been the very best, let us keep in mind, no human has had the perfect life. The steep and rocky road of life is made smooth only by the strength and determination that lies within us. Let us make a pledge today to make the best choices in our lives that will lead us to a healthy, happy, and successful future. Thank you.
Our speaker this afternoon needs no introduction, for he has been a friend of the Assembly District in which he serves and the Hudson City School District. John J. Fazo, Republican conservative, was first elected to the State Assembly in 1986 and re-elected in 1988. Mr. Fauser is a member of the bar in both New York State and the District of Columbia. Mr. Fauser is a member of the Columbia County Republican Committee, the Northern Columbia Lions Club, the Knights of Columbus, the Kinderhook Elks Club, and is chairman of the Kinderhook Town Republican Committee. Prior to his election to the Assembly, Mr. Fauser served as commissioner of the New York State Legislative Bill Drafting Commission at Albany. Mr. Fauser has served as the executive director of the New York State Senate's Washington, D.C. office from 1981 to 1983, and as a professional staff member of the House Government Operations Committee, United States House of Representatives from 1979 to 1981. Assemblyman Fauser was graduated from Georgetown University Law Center, Evening Division in 1979. The State University of New York College at Rockport in 1974, and Archbishop Malloy High School, Briarwood, Queens in 1970. Assemblyman Fauser, with his wife, Mary Frances, and son, Nicholas, reside in the village of Kinderhook. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present Assemblyman John J. Fauser.
Reverend clergy, members of the school board, faculty and administrators, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the class of 1989. It's a pleasure for me to be here today, and the very first thing I wanted to do is to salute your salutatorian and your valedictorian, Jan Vandekar and Michelle Nitransky, for the absolutely terrific job that they have done over the last 4 years. Today is a great day, a day for you to remember, a day for parents and teachers to be proud, a day to pause, to reflect, to look forward to the future. Yes, today is a great day, but what about tomorrow? What about tomorrow? It leads me to a story I recently heard about a 4th grade class. They were studying the solar system, and the children were all getting their assignments and deciding what they wanted to study in the solar system, all the different planets. One little girl, she wanted to study Pluto. That was the name of a Walt Disney character, and it was the planet furthest away. She thought that would be fun. Another little boy said, I want to study Mars because of all the great things he's heard about Mars. And after all, they named a candy bar after Mars. One little boy in the back of the room, he was asked by his teacher what planet, what part of the solar system he planned to study. He said he planned to study Earth. And the rest of the class looked at him with surprise as to why would he choose Earth. And he said, it's the only planet I've ever visited. And I thought that youngster's answer was particularly appropriate. While some of us, among us, may actually travel to distant planets in the next 50 years, most of us, I think, and I think we can safely assume, will be spending our time here on the planet Earth. The question then for all of us, particularly these graduates, is what can I do to make our world, our nation, our community a better place for all of us? As I was preparing my remarks for this speech, I was thinking about some of the things high school graduates want to hear. And as a politician, you know, we always want to tell the people what they want to hear. But you're interested in someone telling you about how much you deserve this, how hard you've worked throughout high school, how great it is that you're now entering adulthood and the real world. All of that is true. What may not have occurred to you, however, is that with your diploma actually does come the real world, the world of adulthood. And with adulthood comes new responsibility. In a society plagued by drugs, teenage mothers, high school dropouts, crime, homelessness, it's important for all of us and each of you to take a look at your future and see what you can do to make a difference. We hear time and again about the me generation. Everyone looking out for themselves, not caring about the other guy. We often hear about people talking about things they are entitled to They're entitled to this. They're entitled to that. We no longer seem to hear people talk about what they are responsible for. Frankly, we as Americans are entitled to many things. Right in our Constitution, we have the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And when you think about the future for these graduates, and you think about the burdens that they will have to shoulder in the future, think how wonderful that document is. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Think and contrast half a world away, students in China right now, who aren't guaranteed life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Aren't we lucky to have these things guaranteed to us? But aren't we responsible also to give something back to our country? John F. Kennedy said it best when he said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." There is no doubt that we as a nation are in a global race, a competition with other nations. Some say, and I tend to agree, that we seem to be lagging in this international competition. I recently came across a quote, and we all are in the spirit of quoting other people here today, by Louis Rukeyser of the Business Almanac, and he's also a noted economic commentator. You see him on TV from time to time, and it summed up my feelings about this question. He said, "Productivity and competitiveness are matters of instinct and human desire. A society preoccupied with what it considers its entitlements is not a society putting its emphasis where it belongs, on a nationwide striving for individual excellence." I think that was a great phrase, and the key part of it for me is a nationwide striving for individual excellence. That striving does not stop upon graduation from high school or from college. Indeed, we need to continue our quest for excellence past the time when we're actually attending school. The key is that individuals can make a difference. Our history is filled with examples of people who individually made a difference for better or for worse in the course of human affairs. Now is the time that many of you will actually be able to make a difference. You have an opportunity to take control, to try to deal with some of the problems this country faces, or at least try to solve part of them. Don't think that you should not be required to do your part just because it will not solve the whole problem. If everyone thought like that, nothing would ever be solved. Homelessness, intolerance, teen mothers, drugs, illiteracy, pollution. You can help make the difference by picking a cause and helping to work on it. I recently heard an astonishing figure that is sobering for me, and I think for all of us. In this year, in these United States, over 280,000 babies will be born addicted to cocaine, crack, or heroin. 280,000. That's about 5 times the population of this county. 280,000. We have a monumental task ahead of us. Now, most of you have decided what your next step is after high school. Whether or not you're going to college, think about those fields where you might be able to make a contribution. Our nation has a growing need, in part for more scientists, teachers, nurses, skilled craftspeople. Orson Welles once said, "They teach anything in universities today. You could even major in mud pies." There's also a saying that I thought was appropriate. In fact, some of my teachers in college thought it fit me. They said, "You can lead a man to college, but you cannot make him think." These are two perfect sayings which I think illustrate why this country may be lagging behind our foreign competition. Foreign countries are those competing against every day against the United States, and they're pulling far ahead in technology, in education, in new product development, in quality control and performance. Why is this? Are Americans and American students not as smart as foreigners and foreign students? Do we not work as hard? I think we need to concentrate on ways of regaining the advantages we once had. The pace of technology has increased 2- and 3-fold in the past 30 years. Yet, for as advanced as we seem here in the United States, there are other countries like Japan pulling further out in front. And the competition does not just exist in the technological area. In the economic sector as well, we're lagging behind. In 1970, the United States had 7 out of the top 25 largest banks in the world, and Japan had only 4. Currently, we do not even have one American bank among the largest 25, while 18 are Japanese. We as a nation can no longer lay claim to world domination in economics or in other areas. The question remains, what are we, and more importantly for these graduates, what are you going to do about it? We never used to need commercials promoting Made in the USA. Why is it we need them now? Why is that looking for a Made in the USA tag has become such a major promotional campaign in our own country? I think I'll let you answer that question. A lot of this, I think, comes back to our educational system and how students feel about going to school. In some foreign countries, school days are longer than 7 or 8 hours, 180 days a year. Students learn more subjects than American students, and our students here grow up basically speaking only one language, while many foreigners are fluently speaking at least 2. Some of our foreign competitors are getting a big jump on the U.S. by training their students, their country's future leaders and business people, at an early age. For these reasons, I think it's vital that we do all we can to enhance education, to enhance teaching as a profession, giving more prestige to teaching, giving the people who spend all day with our children more responsibility for what our children are taught. But parents are also the key. Parents need to assume more responsibility for their children's upbringing and education. In today's world, where most families consist of 2 working parents or single-parent households, it's difficult for parents to be sure that their students and their children are doing all they can. Parents, it's time to closer scrutinize the situation and play a larger part in your children's education. For achievement and success to be possible, everyone involved needs to accept a larger role. Consider the various polls and studies which indicate the appalling lack of knowledge that Americans have as to basic facts about history and geography, or the lack of reading skills that exists. I was astonished to learn that outside of the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, American newspapers write their news columns for a readership on the 8th grade reading level, for fear that many people will not understand. We seem to have lost our interest in reading, and alternatively, we absorb a mind-numbing ingesting of television and videos. I was surprised recently to learn that in 1981, there were about 100 million videos rented. By 1985, that number had escalated to over 1 billion. Too many graduates have never read books like Of Mice and Men, The Great Gatsby, All Quiet on the Western Front, The Grapes of Wrath. Videos are great. And what about Shakespeare? But the videos are certainly no substitute for a book. Videos tend to hinder, in my opinion, the imagination. It's the imagination that we lose watching videos and watching television that we need to keep our competitive edge over foreign countries. It's the imagination that we lose that we might use to discover the cure for cancer, or AIDS, or muscular dystrophy. It's the imagination that we might be able to come up with a creative way to deal with the homeless problem, or deal with the drug problem. I think it's time we change the outlook for our young. It is time our young change the outlook they have for this country and for themselves. The only possible way to improve on our future is by hard work on all of our parts. Learning does not stop here. You will learn every day, both by your successes and your failures. And I think one of the most important things for the graduates to remember is don't be afraid to try new things, to explore uncharted territories, and most of all, realize that you will make mistakes. Some of this country's greatest inventions were discovered by mistake. Strive for the future, pursue your dreams, but also keep in mind that everyone in this room needs to do their part to make our country, our communities, a better place. We all have an obligation to improve our world, our community. We also have a role, no matter how small, in helping others. Remember, in just a few short years, and this will be maybe frightening to your parents and shocking and astonishing to you, but in just a few short years, you will be on your own with your own families, children, marriage, family. Think of it. Soon the torch will pass from your parents' generation to you. You will, like it or not, be responsible for the next generation. And hopefully your example will make things better for everyone. For, as that little boy said, who wanted to study Earth, Earth is the only planet that you will probably visit. The future is yours. Meet this challenge with hope, with optimism, with faith in yourself, your family, and your country. The responsibility is yours. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Thank you very much, Assemblyman John Faso, for your very thoughtful remarks to the Hudson High School graduating class of 1989. Valedictory and salutatory awards. The Isaiah Lodge of the B'nai B'rith is presenting engraved honor plaques to the valedictorian and the salutatorian of the graduating class. Their names have been inscribed on the valedictorian salutatorian plaque donated by the Isaiah Lodge. The plaque is located in the high school award case. The awards this year go to Michelle Ann Natransky, valedictorian, and Jan David Vandekar, salutatorian.
Dr. Stearns, members of the Board of Education, Assemblyman Faso, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the class of 1989. Whom I certified have met the requirements for graduation and are entitled to their diplomas.
We ask that you hold your applause until all graduates have received their diplomas. Cheryl Lynn Warfield, Timothy Allen Thomas. Anthony Arthur Allen Jr., Veronica Michelle Spann. Joanne Palermo, Victor Vincent Rogers. Matthew David Spencer, Jennifer Rachel Berman. Gail Elizabeth Dobert, Albert Paul Kastner. Mark William Stevenson, Rebecca Jean Janito. Melissa Ann Cosa, Paul Douglas Stalker. Thomas Meyer, Melissa McCready. Chelsea Lynn Seaman, Jeremiah Moore. Thomas Raymond Case, Michael Lloyd Hoffman. Yvonne Kate Richardson, Thomas Demetrius King. Wendell Folds. Richard Peter Goll, Keisha Jones. Candace Jane Acklin, William F. Werner. Matthew Colin Miller, Michelle Jean Shunk. Christine Marie Lentz, Thomas Jasper Haig, Jr. Robert Charles Albertson, Peggy Ann Delamater. Deborah Marie Hoteling, Timothy V. Noecker. Peter Lewis, Christine Marie Janito. Elaine C. Pagnani, Gary Joseph Kilser. Frank Vincent Rizzo, Darlene Anita Preble. Jacqueline Michelle Fleury, Mark Allen Graziano. John Mitchell, Donna Lynn Miller. Shannon Marie McDonald, Brian Smith. David Lawrence Harp, Jr., Amy Elizabeth Race. Sheila Kim Weaver, Trudy Ann Weaver. Dorothy Kelsey, Mark Anthony Herring. Terrell Starr, Julie Lynn Jacques. Susan Mary Walsh, Kevin Michael Cowell. Richard F. Johns, Pamela Jean Kilmer. Tanya Joan Himmel, Robert Harvey Gaudette, Jr. Jason Christian Ensign, Christine Jean Eilenberg. Timmy Marie Point, Adam Data. Kay Wong Hurst, Sandra Lee Byrne. Kristen Marie Molino, Jason Keith Shakot. Keith Christopher Schrader, Lisa Janine Corrado. Lisa Marie Keneally, Seth Edward Critchell. Kenneth Michael Bryant, Michelle Lynn Garrison. Renee Jean Marcus, Brett Lee Bellinger. Glenn David Weaver, Melissa Ann Ublacher. Andrew Thomas Perry, Andre Tyrone Perry. Brian Scott Algie, Annika Marianne Avoya. Karen Marie Gardner, Todd Michael Gardner. Frank Anthony Tamburo Jr., Daisy Leobit. Harriet Irene Crine, James Alfonso Goff Jr. Andrew B. Hollenbeck, Susan Marie Mormando. Tanya Lynn Whitco, Clifford Francis Rockefeller. William Joseph Scheitinger, Karen Ann Abafy. Vera Balde, Joseph Martin Matuszewski. Michael O'Connell Keeler, Nicole Marianne Hart. Tacey Ann Molino, James Leonard McClendon. William Majersic, Tracy Ann O'Leary. Timothy Andrew Moore, Jennifer Marie Kipp. Vanessa Jane Michelin, Mark Anthony Dallas. Patrick Michael Orr, Jennifer Kahn Harder. Michelle Ann Nitransky, Jan David Vandekar. Bradley Hugh Peck Jr., Jacqueline Marie Sobin. Jamie Sue Sinise, Scott Lieberman. Michael George Terwilliger, Nicole Charisse Jones. Allison Diane Riccio, Natalie Danielle Riccio. Eleanor Wani Taylor, Gregory John Muller. Brian Timothy Caldwell, Temperance Marie DeCintio. Jennifer Mary Kavalich, Joseph Patrick O'Connell. Alex Daniel Forbes, Jennifer Lynn Keegan. Karen Ann Muller, Ryan John Millar. Luke Whitbeck, Amanda Lynn Shook. Kelly McQueen, Jason Michael Ginsberg. Sean Gregory Campbell, Christina Marion Anderson. Matthew David Perry, Chad Heyer. Carrie Pamela Meist, Jennifer Lee Westfall.
Dr. Stearns, members of the Board of Education, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to present the class of 1989.
The Hudson High School graduation exercises have been brought to you by the Hudson Teachers Association. You and the Hudson Teachers Association, partners in education. The 1989 class officers include Jennifer Westfall, President, Jan Vandekar, Vice President, Carrie Meisch, Secretary, and Jason Ginsberg, Treasurer. The class advisors are Gail and Lance Wheeler. Special thanks are extended to the Hudson City School District Board of Education, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Neil Howard, Assistant Superintendent Lester Lawrence, Hudson High School Principal Herbert Merritt, Assistant Principal George Basehart, and Dean of Students Joseph O'Connor, Jr.
You've been watching Inside the Hudson City School District. The program coordinator for Inside the Hudson City School District is Wayne Francis. Inside the Hudson City School District is produced weekly by Lance Wheeler. If you have an idea for a future segment or would like to share a comment with us, please drop a note at Inside the Hudson City School District, 360 State Street, Hudson, New York, 12534. This is Jay Thomas. Inside the Hudson City School District, keeping you informed, up to date, and in touch with the Hudson City School District.